Hi, great to see you. I've just been thinking, I don't know if it ever struck you, how often Jesus was invited out for a meal. And so many times in the gospel, not because he was a particularly hungry man, but each one was a social event and they had different meanings. When Matthew decided to become a disciple, Jesus called Matthew and he was leaving his friends, they threw a party. They were a pretty crude lot, and I think it was quite a binge, and a number of people were a bit scandalized that Jesus went to it. Another time he went to a wedding, not because they were influential people, friends of his invited to their wedding, so he went and enjoyed the reception afterwards. He ate with poor people and rich people, with celebrities. There's one Pharisee, important man, invited Jesus, but the Pharisee didn't want to commit himself too much, so he didn't show him all the courtesy he should have done. Jesus was not slow in letting him know it hadn't gone unnoticed. And he was always invited. When he saw Zacchaeus was an absolute crook. When he saw him, he said, "Hey, Zacchaeus, hurry up. I'm coming to have dinner at your house tonight." Zacchaeus, of course, was delighted. Everybody else was furious that he went to them instead of with the respectable people. Now, one family he went to often, we think, at Bethany, because he really loved them. In fact, St. John, in his Gospel, says this: Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. Then Matthew tells an incident of when he went to that house. This is what he says. Jesus came to a village and a woman called Martha welcomed him into her house. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to him speaking. Now Martha was distracted with all the serving. And so she said, "Lord, don't you care that my sister is leaving me to do all the serving on my own? Please tell her to give me a hand." And Jesus answered, "Martha, Martha," he said, "you fret and worry about so many things, and few are needed. In fact, only one. Mary has chosen the better part, and it is not to be taken from her." Now, which of the two do you think was right? Martha to get him a meal, or Mary to entertain him? Well, all depends why he came. If Jesus came walking all day and was absolutely starving and he said, "I'll go to their house and get a good meal," then feed the man, he's hungry. And that's what Martha did. On the other hand, if he was around a lot for a few days and he just goes, "I want an evening off, I can just sit and chat with them," then he wants to see them. And that's where Mary did it. He sat and chatted with him. I had the same experience a couple of months ago. I went to see a couple I've known over the years, and I hadn't seen them for quite a long time. I didn't have all that time. But the woman particularly, I was brought up with her, and she spent the whole time in the kitchen because she was determined that I was going to have a really good meal. I must admit, I was quite disappointed. I wanted to see her. I should have been a bit more forthright like Jesus was, and I should have told her. So, if Jesus comes to you hungry, then feed him. But if Jesus wants to talk to you, then give him time. If you spend all your time looking after Jesus as he comes hungry or thirsty or needing a shoulder to cry on, when he needs that, answer his need. But if you spend your whole time in that way so you never have time to pray, you never have time to chat with him, oh, then something has gone wrong. On the other hand, if you spend your whole time chatting, your whole time you say, I'm praying, I don't have time to help these other people, then something has gone wrong then. You need to be Mary sometimes, and you need to be Martha. So think about when one applies and when the other does, and you will see.